Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Healing in Hindsight. I wanted to do an interview with my partner. His name is Elijah Williams, and we've been together for a little over 3 years. And something that I felt was important to share with you guys is the perspective of what it's like of dating somebody who's a diabetic. Again, I'm a young adult and I socialize and I'm out there, and, dating and living with someone can be difficult when you have a disease like this, where a lot of your day-to-day can be affected, your eating can be affected, especially when you're living together. So I just wanted to take the time to pull the curtain back a little bit, let you guys have a peek into my world with my partner. And you'll hear a little bit about us and how we met, things like that. But he really is an amazing guy. I am going to embarrass him a little bit, but he works really, really hard. And sometimes I wonder how in the hell he puts up with me, because I'm good, y'all, but I'm a hot mess sometimes. So it's something that I absolutely appreciate him taking time out of his day to sit down and talk about not only our relationship, but just his perspective on what it's been like for him, because I have not made it easy. I will be honest in that. And my hopes is that for those listening out there, whether you are single or in a relationship, partnership, whatever you want to call it, and you're concerned about your, state of health, and if you are possibly a diabetic, hopefully this can help shed some light on what that experience could be like, or, show some areas where you can adjust. It's an ever-growing journey. Every day is a new day, so we are not perfect by any means, but I think we have definitely had some good points in here of discussion of learning how to navigate around something when you're trying to be supportive of your partner in whatever that they're going through. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. So, hi.
Hi, young buddy. How are you?
Why don't you introduce yourself to everyone and give us a little snippet of your background, if you will.
Elijah Williams, born in Atlanta, moved to Austin, Texas, around 3 years ago. Currently on the COVID mission with the United States Army, in which we are roaming around Texas doing testing for the entire state. So that's pretty much my life right now. Outside of this, there's a myriad of other things that I do, but for right now, that's what's relevant. That's my life right now.
So how's 2020 going for you so far?
So 2020, I guess, is bittersweet in that I'm not home. I'm kind of traveling all over Texas, and we've had a lot of stuff happening during 2020. Some of it's been pretty comical. Some of it has been very morose, but all in all, 2020 hasn't been too bad, at least for me. Definitely looking forward to the rest of 2020 and getting out of this shit show of a year and seeing what 2021 has to offer.
Oh, so you don't even want to finish out the year, you just want to skip to 2021?
No, I'm gonna finish out the year. It's plenty of year left to do things and get things done before 2021. But like I said, it's been a clusterfuck of a year. So
clusterfuck, that's a new one. I didn't know the L.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be a little appropriate.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to worry about that. That's cool. Just be yourself. Okay. So clusterfuck, we're just going to hashtag that because that makes me laugh of a 2020 year. So I'm curious to know, Okay, so fun fact, Elijah and I have been dating for 3.5 years now, or a little over 3 years now.
I always say 3 years right now. It could be 3.5. I just don't count the months.
Yeah, a little funny story. He actually was in Houston, and I drove out to Houston to see him. And I was supposed to see my best friend too, but a lot of stuff went down to where I couldn't see her. But we're literally sitting on the bed watching TV, and he's in his phone doing something random. And then he looks at me, he's like, oh shit, happy anniversary, like a month and a half later. I was just like, it's fine. So let's just say 3.5, because I seem to be the better person who can keep up with time.
Yeah, absolutely. I defer to your judgment on that one. Absolutely.
Cool. So anyways, a little background on us. We met when we were still teenagers. You had just graduated high school, or?
Yeah.
I was going into my junior year of high school. So I was like 16, coming out of my sophomore year. It was the summer of my sophomore year going into my junior year.
Okay, we can say yes. I was going to college that summer, or after that summer, maybe.
We're old.
Sure, let's go with that. That was a long time ago. Jeez.
It was. You're talking about a person who told me I wasn't allowed to be on Facebook because I wasn't in college yet. It's pretty funny. Anyways, so I've known him for a very long time, on and off over the years. And I'd like to say he moved to Texas for me, but I'm not going to do that. But 2017, he moved to Texas, and we finally became official because he didn't want to date me when he was living in Florida. Another tangent for another day. But, anyways, fast forward, here we are, which kind of leads me into my first question for you. Prior to moving here, have you dated anybody or been romantically involved with anybody that's had a chronic illness of some sort, or am I your first?
I have not, up until this point with you, dated anyone that had a chronic illness or any kind of disease.
I don't know if I should be excited about that or not, because I do like being first.
Yes, you do like being the first.
It's kind of a shitty first.
I mean, but you have your own podcast about it. So, that's a good first. I've never dated somebody with a podcast either. So cheers to you.
Okay. All right. So it's a double win for me. I'll take that. So I'm curious, before you moved here, did I share with you that I was a diabetic before you moved here?
Maybe. I feel like it was on my radar, or maybe it was during the time, like the year prior to me moving down here, that you shared it. I don't know. It was on my radar. I do know that. I just don't know when you shared it.
Okay. So did you have any concerns when you were, let's just say, fully aware of my status? Because I feel like it was on your radar. It was kind of like a back of mind thing. But when it was actually in the forefront of your mind that I am dating someone who is a diabetic, and the things that she eats, drinks, whatever, has an effect on her, did you have any concerns, worries, cared? Because, I could also understand if it's not your body, it's not a whole lot to police is not the right word, but pay attention to, maybe. Maybe that's the better phrasing.
I did not have any concerns, only because I couldn't imagine what that would be like, regardless. Up until that point, like I said, I hadn't dated anyone that had a chronic illness, let alone who was a diabetic. So it was more so I didn't have a backdrop to kind of set any expectation around or have any concerns. But I think you possibly hit it on the head as far as saying I didn't necessarily feel that I had to police anything. You were going to take care of yourself, and I was going to be there for support. Now, all of that kind of looks differently now, but I imagine we'll get further into that more we talk.
So do you have like a history of whether it's friends or family that are diabetics, or am I kind of your first encounter in general?
I wouldn't say first encounter. Like, I've known people that had chronic illness, but I've never had to deal with them intimately on an intimate basis. So yeah, my family, clean bill of health pretty much. Never had anything come up that was too concerning in my life either. So
Okay. So was there a moment from when you got here till now where you either started to pay closer attention or started to have concerns?
I would say I would say yes and no to that question, only because when I first moved down here and we started living together, we had the agreement that, you would cook, I would clean, yada, yada, yada. And a part of that was in efforts to make sure that we were eating things that that were quote unquote kosher for you. I mean, at the time I was practicing my vegetarian life. So that added another layer of complexity, I think, to our diets. But I think you having the role of being the cook kind of helped things along to a certain degree in the beginning. Now, as time went on, I know there were instances of like both of our diets slacking off, and we would kind of get lax in certain things and what we were eating, things like that, especially after I stopped practicing being a vegetarian, partially because I got down to 125 in weight, which was a no-go for me, but neither here or there. I start realizing some of the concerns at that point, because I would go out and get something to eat and bring it back, and you'd be like, I can't eat this. Which I could tell you were getting frustrated with that. But at the same time, you would go out and get a burger, so I would just be like really confused. But I think more so beyond that, I think that one of the biggest concerns for me was that understanding how our diets affected our moods. And I think that happened a lot and we didn't realize it. Yeah. So maintaining diet and diet affecting mood, more so diet affecting mood than anything.
Okay. So you actually already kind of like led into a little bit of an aspect of living together versus not. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really know how to prepare for, at least if you haven't been together for a while. So a little history. We lived together for a little over a year.
2 years.
2 years. Two and some change, whatever. And then decided to live separately just so we could both focus on ourselves. To be completely transparent with you guys, it was his idea. I wasn't exactly keen on it. But I kind of understood where that came from, but that's a whole other thing to talk about. So I'm just curious now, that we are living separately in our own spaces, what your viewpoints are about me and my health, completely separate from even doing the show and stuff like that. Because I know when we were living together, I'd shared my vision for Healing in Hindsight in general and attempted to you kind of caught me during my like start and stop period very heavily. And then I stopped for a while because I just didn't feel confident in anything that I was doing. But I'm just curious now that we are separate, what your thoughts are. Like, has your mind shifted at all with my current condition, if you will?
I would say that my thought process hasn't changed since we lived together necessarily. Like I still try to be mindful and concerned about your health, understanding that it is your health that ultimately you have to be responsible for. But I mean so much in the way of being supportive. I think that has to look differently now. Whereas, when we were living together, it was a little bit more easy for me to show support, whether I did it or not. At certain points, there were a couple fumbles, but I think it's more imperative now that we don't live together, that I am supportive in your wrestling with your health, which is a far cry from what my mentality was before I even moved to Texas, which was, well, that's on you. Like, I'm going to be here for moral support, but it's kind of like super hands off. You go do what you got to do over there type deal. So whether that's, supporting Healing in Hindsight or listening to you vent and rant about it's sucking to not be able to eat certain things, or feeling, that dejected feeling with about your body. Being supportive on all three of those fronts and more, I think, is imperative at this point.
I didn't expect you to stop this.
Yeah. I started rambling. I was like, you're rambling.
No,
just
you're
shut
not
up.
rambling. That's the point. The point is to just let the thoughts flow and just talk it out and share. Otherwise, I wouldn't have you on here. So I'm actually curious to know about what your views have been about my past relationships and me being a diabetic, because prior to Elijah moving here, I was in like an on and off 5-year relationship with someone. And in the midst of that relationship was when I was diagnosed. Like in the first 2 episodes, I talk about, the fainting spells that I had and my ex having to pull me out of the shower because I had fainted. and the few other times that came after that. And I know I shared those things with you early on when you moved here. Was there ever a moment where you felt like you had to be on guard to kind of watch for those things? Also, he's a medic, so part of me feels like, did you ever feel like you needed to go into medic mode with me?
No, no, I didn't. And I remember one instance of you being upset with me because I wasn't showing as much concern as you would have liked me to. but I didn't feel that I needed to have that wary eye. One, because when you had shared with me about your diagnosis and the things that transpired in your last relationship, on the tail end of that diagnosis, that was new to you, that you were still trying to figure it out. And when I got here, it seemed like you had a pretty good handle on what being a diabetic for you meant and was like and what you needed to do. Um, did I feel the need to step in and just check in and say, hey, yeah, should you be eating that? Have you like taken your glucose? Sure, I've done that, but it's never been it's never been a super I need to step in right now type of situation ever occurred in my mind. That has never occurred.
So what's been the emotional effects of it? Because I know you touched on like me being moody about, when you would go out and like get food for us or whatever. It was always in the midst of me trying some kind of new way of eating too. I feel like at least back when we were living together, I danced around all different types of eating styles, and I know like I was meal prepping and all kinds of stuff. And then when I tried to resurface the blog again, that's when I tried to be really serious about my eating, and I kind of feel shitty about it now. Like bitching at you for going and getting us food. And I'm sure there's someone out there like, oh my God, there's a guy getting you food. Like, why would you complain? but I kind of just wonder what the emotional effects were of me kind of lashing out for not thinking through. I'm thinking of actually a particular time where you ordered food that got delivered, and I think it was from Soup Peddler. You fucking loved Soup Peddler.
Soup Peddler is the shit, man.
It's all right. I mean, no hate to Soup Peddler, but it's just not my favorite thing. But I think part of it is like you were always ordering that. But you got us like sandwiches.
But to be fair to myself, I don't like eating. Chewing is a chore. So soup and a sandwich, like that sounds amazing. Like I want soup and a sandwich right now.
Didn't you just order food? What did you order?
Oh, I'm in the mood to eat, so I got barbecue.
Yeah, you definitely had food delivered here before we started this.
Yeah.
That's fine. I told him to eat beforehand because I had a feeling. Because once your window passes, you get weird. But anyways, in that particular moment, I remember going to the kitchen and like trying to hide how emotional I got because I didn't want to seem unappreciative of the fact that without me asking, let me be clear, like I didn't ask, I didn't say anything. Like I just thought he was scrolling on Facebook or something. We were just chilling in the bed watching TV, and he had ordered food. So before you guys try to like lay me out on the social media cross,
don't do that.
I wasn't being an asshole. I had no clue it was even coming. So once I kind of saw what it was, I took it to the kitchen so he didn't see me like get upset. Like I started crying because it was more out of frustration of, God, I really want to eat this sandwich, but right now bread is just my worst enemy. I tend to have sometimes a very bloated reaction to bread and stuff like that, especially cheap bread. Every now and then I'll have it, but for the most part, I try to avoid those kind of heavier carbs, processed carbs, because my body just doesn't take to it well. But I'm just curious as like what your emotional state was, because I feel like, to be fair, I feel like you had a right to be frustrated with me. But I'm just kind of wondering what was going through your head in that moment, or in moments where I'm like freaking out because something that you've gotten, I was struggling to be okay with eating or vocalizing about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was definitely completely frustrated. But I, I I had to check myself because one, I understood what the need was, um, and I wanted to be supportive, but at the same time, my frustration came into play because I would see you eat certain things when you wanted them. So um, I just kind of had to take it with a grain of salt and just kind of move forward. And you would tell me that it wasn't good for you right now, and I had to ultimately understand I guess that's where I kind of left it in my mind. It's not what she needs right now. Um, and I would just save it and eat it myself. So it worked out. But
You got a snack for your snacks. All right, I get it.
yeah, but there was some frustration sometimes, but I just ultimately decided that you knew what you needed at that moment, and who was I to be mad at about that, regardless of whether I saw you eat it before or not. Um, and I think that's a part of the support system that I had to work on for you, is just kind of building that muscle memory not to be frustrated in those moments.
And so, how do you feel about now? Like, I know you know, to be fair, like, I'm still trying to figure this out.
Oh, I just ask you, like, what do you want? Like, I'm not getting on favor. I'm not doing none of that without consulting. Like, hey, what do you want? Because I'm not going down that rabbit hole again.
What about before we were highly suggested not to go out to eat before you had to go on your mission, like when you'd go to restaurants and stuff. Granted, I feel like I'm the one who usually picks them because there's just a lot more that I know of Austin to see. But there have been moments where you've like wanted to take me out or whatever. Was that something that you considered as well? Or like, did you ever like pre-look at the menu to see if there was a variety of options, or did you just kind of like pick something?
I typically just pick something. I don't have I haven't built the muscle of I haven't built the muscle of consideration to look at a menu prior to saying, "Hey, yeah, we're going here," or offering out that suggestion. And I think that's come up in one of our previous discussions as well. Um, but yeah, I don't look at menus. I just say, "Hey, yeah, I heard this place is good. Let's go here." And sometimes, you'll say, "Yeah, they don't have a whole lot that I can eat." Oh, okay. Um,
Maybe sounds so terrible.
but that's how these conversations went.
I feel like, well, to be fair, I feel like in the last year, because we've had a lot of soul searching that we've done individually and as a couple. I feel like I've been way better about that
Sure.
than in previous instances. I'm curious though, like, oh my god, the question was right there and then it just left me. I guess what I'm wanting to know is, do you feel and this is not a little question anyway of like, I'm expecting you to give some type of strong answer, but like, do you feel any type of responsibility whenever it comes to things that we do, or if we want to go out, or, you know, even if it's not restaurants, like I know like sometimes we go to parks and stuff like that or whatever. Is there a difference in your thought process in our relationship if food or anything health related is involved that you consider? Does that make sense? I feel like I'm trying to find the right words.
Let's try it again.
Okay, that means no. You just say no. I'll make it simple. What's changed in your thought process now than when you first got here? Knowing not only my disease, but like the severity of what it can become if it goes unchecked. Does that sound better?
Sure. Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, I think just my the way that I support you has become a little bit more hands-on than expected. And not so much in that I'm telling you what to eat and what you can eat and things like that, because I'm not your doctor and I'm not you. But if you want a cookie, you know, I'm going to go get you some cookies. But, you know, I'm also going to ask you, hey, what do you want to eat? Because I may feel like this, but understanding, you know, your dietary restrictions, I'm going to open up the conversation instead of, you know, hopping on Uber Eats or Favor and ordering whatever fits my fancy. So,
which is usually Indian food, guys. Like he orders Indian food.
Hold on. Like, all right, that was
like,
one.
What do you know?
All right, that was like
there've been so many times.
That was like
where
the
you're
first
like, what do you want to
year.
eat? Or I'll ask you, what do you want to eat? And it always defaults to Indian food. And that's the only reason why. Not that there's anything wrong with Indian food. I love a good tikka masala. But usually anytime he pulls up any of his eating apps, usually it's an Indian restaurant. I'm like, is that all we're going to eat every time that you are? Some variety and choices.
That was like the first year and a half. And that was because y'all have some really good Indian places.
We
here.
do.
And Lithonia, Decatur, which is where I'm from, we don't really have a whole lot of Indian places. We got like one or two, you know, and one place I really like want to go back, like when I go back to Atlanta. Anyways, neither here or there. Yeah, I got a lot of Indian places, Indian food here. So
you have a bucket list of go to all the Indian places in Texas.
I wouldn't say a bucket list. That's a little extreme. But you know, when I first got down here, I was like, oh, Indian food.
Do that again. What was it?
Oh, Indian food. Let's do this. But now I'm good now. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah. Like, you should see my favorite cart. Yeah, my favorite cart is like I haven't gotten Indian food in like forever.
You mean your past orders?
Yeah, the past orders. That's what I'm saying.
You said cart.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Sorry, I'm not sorry. Okay, so I'm curious to know now. So obviously, you know. Okay, Elijah knows, but for those of you who don't know, both my parents are also diabetic. And you'll actually get to listen to an episode with me talking to my dad, who was the first person to kind of like put me on game on everything to expect. He was literally the first person that I talked to when I was leaving my doctor's office. So I hope you enjoyed that episode because my dad is like, freaking love my dad. Love you too, Mom. Don't get me wrong. Before she stands over there pouting. My mom will pout sometimes if I don't include her.
Wait. Let me call her real quick.
But I just remember I had a conversation with my dad the year prior to me being diagnosed. And then afterwards, my mom actually is a badass. She like worked really hard on her diet and everything, and was able to get off of her meds naturally, or most of her meds naturally. But anyways, knowing kind of my family's history with that, what has been your observations, your thoughts? You've been with us to plenty of family functions, things like that. Was there any like trends or anything that you noticed between like myself and my family life versus myself when I'm with you? Because I know that our family backgrounds can have a huge influence on that. And as you mentioned, you seem to have a very clean bill of health side of things. So I guess if we have kids, there's a 50-50. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I've been thinking about that. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
That's going to work. Sorry, you got the bad straw.
Oh, that's fine. You know my parents are going to hear this and probably be like, nope, he can't come back.
He's
not allowed back.
Buddy.
He can't come back. He's saying we're the unhealthy, shitty family.
No, that's not what I'm saying. If your kid comes out and they get diabetes, you're just like, I'm sorry. Like, you're going to have to deal with this for your rest of your life.
Well, that
like,
depends, because type 2 is not necessarily something that is a passed down thing. It's just more of a higher risk thing versus type 1. But, but again, I do think that it's fair to think about when you're experiencing another person's family and there are, a trending illness amongst them, that I don't blame you if there was like some concerns or things like that. Especially if you're thinking about future and all of that. But I'm just curious as to like what your overall thoughts were in learning that not only am I a diabetic, but both of my parents are as well.
So there was no concern, visiting them and all that good stuff. No concern there. Did the whole genetic thought crossed my mind? Sure. Like if we ever, procreated, quote unquote.
He just does not want to have kids. It's gotta be a scientific word. Procreate.
We ever procreated, like, we may have to sit some kids down and be like, hey, yeah, you can't eat this. Here's why. That definitely crossed my mind a couple times, but it's not something that I've really held in high regard or high concern. Outside of that, I haven't even thought about it. We go visit your family. I don't know. Maybe I'm not paying attention. It seems like everybody eats what the hell they want, especially when the Laos people come over.
Oh my!
Laos fam.
For those who don't know, my mom's from Thailand, but we have an extended Laos family, pretty much the same. Shout out to my Laos aunties.
A whole bunch of rice noodles, and everybody's eating all of that shit. And it's like, wait, don't y'all have diabetes? We don't care. It's good. Fair enough. Okay. Like, hand me a bowl.
That leads me to ask, though, because I'm going to ask this. You've eaten the food. If you were a diabetic, would you turn it down?
I don't. I can't say. I can't speak on that.
Nope. Come on. Play the game.
I can't speak.
Now, to be fair,
definitely eat it's good food. I would definitely eat it.
To be clear, all of my extended family is aware of our conditions and things like that. I was just curious if that ever come up. But to your point, like, my parents have always been really good about, hey, we can't drink too heavily, or hey, they kind of regulate how they're eating. Because it's not to say that you can't, it's just all about the moderation of things. And I think that's something that in any partnership you have to, at least I feel have constant communication with, which I feel like we've had, or at least I've tried to have with you, of here's what I'm working on, here's what I'm trying to do. If you see me doing this, this is why. If I needed help, which I don't ask you for help very often, just because I don't like asking for help in general. But I also don't want to burden with something that you physically have really no stake in, if you will. I think it's tough in any relationship to have something that is solely on you, and you have to be responsible for it. Almost feels like it's easier to be like, hey, can you just be the one to like remind me of stuff? Can you just be like my medical personal assistant? And you're a medic in the Army, so it's kind of hard not to be like, so you want to prick my finger for me, or
Yeah. I definitely see your point there, and I think that it's good to have that support system. But for me, I strongly believed when I came down here, and even now, this is your journey. I'm just kind of watching you run your journey, and I'm here to cheerlead you on. And I can't be the one, in to any degree responsible. So I think you make a great point in bringing that up, because that is something that I wrestled with, because I had, maybe still have to a certain degree, a Superman complex and take on responsibility that isn't mine. But
if you want to save me,
no, you got it. You are doing great by yourself, young lady.
the muscles for you. Might as well just throw on the cape and call it a day.
You're doing great.
So okay. Well, I appreciate that, and I definitely get it. And I will go on record and say I apologize if I put you in a position for feeling like you got to be the savior. I mean, not that it isn't nice being picked up and carried or something like that, but it's definitely true that when you are in a relationship, you have to understand what areas you need to hold on your own and what areas you need to carry together. And I definitely feel like my health is something that a good 90% I need to carry myself, because I'm with myself most of the time, especially with us living separately. It's not like, before, where if I got up in the middle of the night for a snack, because I couldn't sleep or whatever, you would hear or see that, but there is an aspect of knowing that you're supportive. And if I did need you to kind of go into drill sergeant mode and be like, listen, if you see me pick this up, no matter what I say, please knock it out of my hand, whatever. And being able to trust you in that, there's a deep level of trust that goes into any chronic illness, honestly.
Which I only think would happen if you were like drinking and I had to would have to do that.
Oh yeah. I think I've been pretty okay with that.
I think that was one time with some hot dogs, maybe.
Okay, but these are guys. Okay, let me tell you. And when you listen to the episode with my dad, I'm gonna have to bring this up because these are like freaking great hot dogs. Okay, like shout out to Miss Julie across the street from Barbarella's. Like the best. It's like this Asian fusion hot dog. It's like sriracha and cream cheese. Like literally when my dad and my mom were here, we hung out all during the day. We did like this little happy hour thing. And then my dad flew in and he and I went out that night and took him to like some of my favorite little bars. But I knew he hadn't eaten. So I took him to this hot dog stand. I'm like, listen, I know it's late, but just rock with me on this. And he didn't make it 2 blocks. It was that good. So to be fair, these are some damn good hot dogs.
They are good hot dogs.
Like so worth it. And it's a really sweet Asian couple. They have 2 stands. We just happened to go to that one, but I have been to both. I will definitely link them on here because they're super sweet and I love supporting them. Hope they're doing okay in the midst of all this craziness, because small businesses are.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah, but super good, And we were out for something else anyways, and I needed to eat, so.
Okay.
Hey, as someone who has to regulate blood sugar, sometimes you just need to eat. If you're going to be up, your body is burning, and you just,
this is true.
And of course, drinking. You need a base. Can't go full throttle on an empty stomach. We have had, and I notice I said we have had some moments where that has bit us in the ass and it's not okay.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man, that's funny. Oh, now I want a hot dog. It's your fault.
Yeah, that's I accept complete responsibility for that one.
So I would love to hear if there's someone out there who has never dated anybody or is currently dating somebody and they don't know what to do. Like, what would be, let's say, your top 3 pieces of advice that you would give?
Oh man, get the fuck out the way. Let them handle their shit. Don't judge them. Right. Well, I guess I'm talking to the person that's like doing the supporting. Right.
What do you? Well, slow down. What do you mean by get out of their way?
So get out of their way, like whatever adjustments they need to make in their life to try to figure out their life, like get out of their way, right? I mean, you can be there to support them, to, hear them out and things like that. But, get out their way. Like they're trying to run their race. And you putting too much of you into it or your input into it only slows them down. Don't judge them. Everyone is running a race, and some people are running more graceful races than others. And actually, let me take that back. Everyone's running their race, and you're running your race the way that you need to run it. Doesn't make you more graceful than someone else in that run. And lastly, don't take responsibility for their life or their health. It's crucial that you don't enable them. And that kind of goes along with getting out of their way. Put the onus back on them if they're, asking, hey, can you remind me to take my insulin? No, you can set an alarm to take your insulin. You got it. Now,
I was gonna say, I've definitely asked you, like, can you please not let me forget my meds if I'm like running around?
Right. Like, so like if I see you, like, we're out and about with friends and things like that, I'm like, okay, nudge, nudge. But it shouldn't be like a common occurrence, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
You don't need to be the personal medic assistant or medical assistant to someone. I agree with that. I definitely think that there is being the person who has, the health issues, there's a lot of responsibility that you have to take for yourself, and expecting that your support system is going to make you. I think there is something to be said about having a good support system where they can tell you, like, hey, I've just noticed that you had like half a bag of Twizzlers and it's 11 o'clock at night. You might want to chill.
You really just did that. You might want
to chill. And hey, and if you're the person like myself who has it, recognize those cues, because I will admit, y'all know I'm not perfect. There have been moments where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat this other Oreo though. Don't tell me what to do, But it's a humbling moment where you have to really just trust that when your loved ones or your support system is telling you that, it's not because they're trying to restrain you. It's just because it's a ripple effect. And so how you treat yourself during this has a huge effect on everyone else. And if you want them to be able to support you continuously, being an asshole when someone says, hey, I'm just noticing it's getting a little cray on this end, might want to calm down. I'm not gonna stop you, but just giving you a heads up. It seems like there's been a lot, and you've done that for me. And there have been moments of struggle for sure. And it was just because nobody wants to be told they can't have something. And I'm definitely that person where, like, if you say I can't do something, no matter what it is, I'm like, what? Yes, I can. I can totally do that. With the exception of, like, lifting a car above my head or something like that. I can't do that. I'll be like, you got it. It's not my lane. But definitely with certain things, it can be hard because you want to feel normal. And when your body is doing something that isn't normal, it can be hard. So, with that being said,
are Oreos really normal though?
Listen, first of all, I know you are not judging me about Oreos. It's not like I even eat them all the time. Like the way I kind of, you are
Oreos.
Totally judging me.
I'm judging Oreos. Like, what do y'all put in those Oreos?
Did you know they're vegan?
Oh, are they?
Oreos are vegan.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it doesn't mean there's any less sugar, but Oreos are definitely vegan.
There's some other snacks out there that are very dubious, though. But Oreos, apparently you got it right. Okay,
apparently,
good job.
Apparently, it's one of the first things I learned. If you listen to the rest of the season, I also do an interview with one of my best friends, Kara from The Grateful Girl. She is a vegan blogger and activist. And that was one of the first things that I learned when she went vegan is like, hey, Oreos are vegan. I was like, what? Even deeper excuse for me to continue to eat them. Right. It doesn't mean there's any less sugar, guys. Vegan does not mean sugar-free, okay? So just in case you're wondering.
Double stuff.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your mission and all of that to have this little chat.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. It's a part of that support effort.
AKA, he feels like I held a gun to his head and was like, you got to do this interview.
I mean, when there's a, 9mm in the room.
I don't even own a gun. You're such an ass.
I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm kidding.
No, I really do appreciate it because I think that's something that a lot of people wonder sometimes. It's like, how is my relationship going to work now that this thing has happened? And I am curious to know like what it would have been like had you been around when I was diagnosed, but another story for another day. But so enough about, I guess, us and me. Let's talk about you. You have anything going on? Anything that you're up to? Like if people wanted to learn a little bit more about Eli, how could they do that? Now, don't get crazy. I will check some of y'all if you check it from a man. I'm just saying.
I'm not a big social media person, but Eli Will, I, or Eli Will the third, is my Facebook. Mainly, I'm working on, at this point in time, some investment strategies or movements that I'm making, but more so, my next move is going to be fitness modeling, and I am going to give this lovely young lady my Instagram information so she can provide it to you all. But that's something that I feel like I have been gifted with the talent for. So,
AKA, he fine, y'all. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even saying that because I'm dating him. Like, this man his abs have abs, y'all. Like, it's not fair. I have asked him plenty of times if we could just body switch, just get my body in shape, and then we flip back. Like, that's how ripped this dude is for no freaking reason. I mean, there are reasons, obviously, he works hard, but it's
so, I'm that's something I am working towards, unfortunately, while I'm here on this mission. I don't feel like I can do it real justice, but once I'm done, I'm gonna go towards that very hard and get back in the gym and all that good stuff.
He's flexing his pecs right now, y'all. I wish you could see.
I'm not flexing right
now. You did it twice. They like bounced twice. I saw it. Oh, this is great. You just did it again.
I'm just sitting here. I don't know what's going on.
You're like we haven't switched to video podcasting yet, dude.
We're never doing that now.
Oh, lies! You can't say you're gonna be a fitness model. And you got to be shy with the camera. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. Well, I will definitely make sure that I link all of the things in the show notes, so that way people can find you. And again, don't try stalking. I will look up your IP address. You're hot. I'm sorry. Like it's a semi-compliment, but
thank you.
Don't get crazy. He doesn't like being complimented, guys. It's very hard. He's blushing right now. Oh, so cute. Yeah, this is what you get. This is what you get. I get to mess with you.
I think we're done. Right?
Did you have fun? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, this was a good time.
Yeah. Would you do it again?
If I had more to say.
What are you talking about? We've come up with like 60 ideas. Okay, maybe that's a large number, but
yeah, that's a huge number. Like I can't even think of 60 words to say right now. Like,
you definitely said well over 60 words. So I
said right now, like
really just a bunch of us
times 5.
Okay, I don't think that math is right. I don't think that math is right at all. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed that episode with my partner, Elijah. As you can see, we are goofy as hell, but we're a lot of fun. And I definitely could not have even gotten this far, literally to this point of recording, had it not been for him. He's helped me grow so much in a lot of ways that I don't think he always recognizes, because he's just that guy. So thank you, Eli. Love you. If you want to catch up with him, you can check him out on Instagram at @Iam_Eli Will. So once he's done with his mission, testing everybody and making sure everybody is COVID safe, you can catch him on Instagram as he starts his fitness modeling journey. And hey, that might not be the last time that you hear from him. I don't know. He claims he's not going to be back, but we shall see. So keep listening, subscribe, like, follow, all the things. Of course, hop on iTunes or Apple Podcasts now. And if you could leave me a rating and some feedback on what you want to hear. Again, this is my first interview. I know the audio was a little choppy, but it worked out in the end. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think and continuing this journey with you guys. And yeah, that's all I got this round. So hope you enjoy the next couple of interviews and unscripted stuff from me. But no matter where you are, thank you for listening and taking the time to check your girl out. I'm just a girl from Texas trying to make moves in the world. That kind of stuff. Hope you guys have a good one. Take care.